Is your anger keeping you from manifesting what you want? And how can you leverage it to your advantage instead so that you no longer have to hide from it and can instead embrace and transcend it? We'll cover all that today and more, so sit back, relax, and get ready to take your manifesting power to the next level. This is the Law of Attraction like you've never heard it before. Hey, it's Andrew, otherwise known as that guy who wrote the last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read, and if you want to check out the book, you can very easily do so by going to lastlawofattractionbook.com, which will auto-forward to the listing on Amazon. But first, if you've been enjoying this content up until now, do me a favor and hit that like button. I really would appreciate it, and today, I've got something really special, really important video in store for you, and we're basically going to cover the topic of anger and make sure that it's not getting in the way of us manifesting what we truly want. Make sure it's not getting in the way of you manifesting what you truly want. Let's kick things off with the email that I received that inspired today's content. So this was from Christine, and her email basically reads, "Dear Andrew, I would love to see you deal with the topic of anger in one of your YouTube videos. And I don't mean just anger at specific people, but anger at life. Anger at a whole group of people, such as doctors. Anger at circumstances. A person can be angry at a lot of things. Anger is one of the tougher emotions for me. I'd love to find a fun way to deal with it, or, if that's not possible, an easy way. A method would be so cool. Something that's not trying desperately not to feel it, or not being irritable and or expressing it inappropriately. A way to turn it into an ally and not something that feels so horrible. Anyway, I just figured if I'm dealing with this issue, maybe other people are too. Sincerely, your friend Christine." Well, first of all, Christine, thank you so much for writing. And, I think you're right. I think a lot of people deal with anger, and especially, in the context of Law of Attraction, we have learned from all the books and all the experts and everyone else to avoid negative emotions, including anger. And what most people don't realize is you can't really avoid this stuff. In fact, the more you try to avoid it, really the longer you're actually holding on to it without realizing it, and the more power you're giving it. The thing is that emotions, whether they are positive or negative, they need to be processed, because otherwise your body holds on to them and it stores them. And, that's a great thing for positive emotions, although you want to process those completely anyway also to make room for other ones. But especially in regard to negative ones, if you can, to whatever measure you can, you want to process those and transcend those and move past those so that they're no longer inadvertently holding you down in ways that you don't even notice. I found it interesting. You had a concern that you actually expressed in your email to me about not expressing your anger inappropriately. And that's another concern we have, besides the fact that we're hiding from our negative emotions because we're worried that if we acknowledge them, we're attracting negative things. It's also that we don't want to be the bad guy. We don't want to hurt people. We don't want to make other people uncomfortable with our emotions. We don't want to overstep our bounds, whatever excuses there might be, whatever rationalizations our ego comes up with. Obviously, that's just us trying to be good people. That's us trying to be, good-natured people and moral people and not infringing on others. So, of course, you're going to be worried about expressing it inappropriately. But here's the thing. It needs to be expressed, and part of the appropriate way is, if you're worried about something bothering other people, expressing it in private where you're not going to bother other people. So, for example, everyone's got their own way of doing it, and I advise you to only trust your gut and only do what I suggest if it actually fits for you and it resonates with you. But for me, if I'm really angry, I need to find a time and a place alone where I can just scream and let it all out. And I mean a scream that shakes the planet. I mean just letting it out, letting it process, letting my body expel the energy by just letting it all out. Nothing held back. Nothing about worrying about anyone else, not worrying about scaring anybody else because no one else is there. I've chosen a time, a place, a location, a circumstance, an opportunity where it's just me and nobody else, so I can scream as loud and as deeply and as ferociously as I want and just let it out. And on top of the screaming, just verbally processing everything. I hate this. I'm sick of that. I'm over this, whatever it might be. Because again, it's there anyway, and don't worry about holding on to negative stuff, and really don't worry about overpowering all the positive stuff, because you say it once, you process it once, and then it's out of the way, and then you can focus on positivity again, and then you can go in that direction. So again, whether it's screaming or something else, hopefully healthy, where you're not being harmed and no one else is being harmed, then basically, you have at it, you process it, you express it, you let it out in whatever way you can. And again, I'm not a therapist, so you be an adult, you decide for yourself, take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm no expert in that regard. This is just me telling you what I as a human being do and what has helped me and what's worked for others that I've noticed for them. Process, express, let that anger out. Now, obviously, one thing you might be saying in response is, well, it's not just one time, you're feeling it over and over and over again. But again, that's just an unprocessed emotion, and it's okay for it to happen more than once. It's just when it happens, you want to give yourself the opportunity to kind of let it out, to scream, to vent, to complain, to whatever you need to do to just get it out of the way so that you could then more freely focus on positivity. You can more freely focus on gratitude for that day, or visualize or script or do whatever it is that you're going to do that's going to be healthier for you. So my advice, take it with a grain of salt, follow your own gut on this, is not to hold on to it, not to repress it, not to run from it, not to hide from it, and not to worry that the expression and the feeling and the acknowledgement and the processing of it, not to worry that that's holding you back, that that's getting in the way of your vibration, because again, positive thoughts, positive emotions are so much more powerful than the negative ones. So no matter how ferocious that anger is, no matter how strong and how resilient it is, just feeling even a percentage, just a fraction of gratitude is going to overpower that in ways that you don't realize, because it's energetically doing it. It's not doing it where it's visceral for you, but it is more than making up and more than accounting for whatever anger or whatever negativity you might experience in that moment when you allow yourself to process it, which, by the way, when you do allow yourself to process it, it's my estimation, my experience, my feeling that you're going to feel a lot better. Now, with that said, you know that I'm a fan of strategically using situations to my advantage, even if they're negative ones. I mean, remember my book, The Discount Trigger Method, where, there was a negative situation and you use that as your cue to instill some positivity into your day. So you're basically leveraging how many times, no matter what number they are, that the negativity comes up, you're using that as a cue to inject positivity so that you get more momentum in that direction. With that in mind, I've got a new method for you, and it's got 3 names. I'm kind of playing with the names. The first name is the here's what's stupid and here's what's awesome method. Another name for it is here's what's stupid and here's what isn't method, or you can just shorten it to the here's what's stupid method, even though you're more than just expressing what's stupid. And what I mean by that is you're giving yourself permission to be judgmental. You're giving yourself permission and space to be bitter. You're giving yourself permission to vent and complain and whatever word you want to use about whatever it is that's bothering you, big or small, it doesn't matter. You are venting, but here's the thing about it. Here's the twist. Remember, this whole thing is here's what's stupid and here's what isn't. So when you say one thing that's stupid, you got to give yourself a rule that you do at least 2 things that are good, that are positive, that aren't stupid, that are awesome. Meaning, you were talking about doctors. You have anger towards doctors. So you say whatever stupid, it's stupid that doctors XYZ, blah, 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 whatever it is you're saying. And but what's awesome is the fact that there is love in the world. What's awesome is the fact that there are good people in the world. What's awesome is the fact that I have a roof over my head. What's awesome is the fact that there are good-natured people. What's awesome is the fact that I have whatever resources I need in order to try to find better things in my life. What's awesome is the fact that there are animals in the world. There's pets, there's dogs, there's cats. There's entertainment, there's wonderful whatever, fill in the blank. You do one thing here where you say whatever you want and you say, okay, before I go to something else, I'm picking 2 things here. And then all right, I've given the 2 things. I can go back to processing that anger. And by the way, it could be the same thing that you were angry about because you might need to process it a little bit more, or it could be something related to that thing, or it could be something new entirely. But once you do that, you have that one thing, you pick 2 other things that are positive instead, and you are offsetting it. You're taking 1 step backwards, but 2 steps forward, and that's what it's all about. You are giving yourself permission to express and feel the anger and to complain and to vent. You're giving yourself that permission. You're not judging yourself. You're processing it. You're letting it run through, but then you're saying, all right, I'm using this as a cue, as a trigger, as a way by which I'm going to infuse positivity, and not just a little bit of positivity, but twice the level of positivity, which is really more like 20 times the level, because each positive thing you have is stronger than whatever negative feeling you're experiencing. And also, you were asking about, something maybe fun, hence the silly title of Here's What's Stupid. And, it kind of reminds me of like a Family Guy episode from years back where Peter Griffin had this really silly segment that everyone thought was stupid, but he had this segment on the news where he's like, you know what really grinds my gears? That was his thing. You know what really grinds my gears? And then he went to whatever. You basically have your own version of what grinds my gears. And of course you can say, here's what's stupid, or here's what I hate, or whatever. It could be silly, it could be serious, it could be whatever you want it to be. But again, you're just tacking on the end of it something positive. In fact, two positive things, giving yourself permission to feel okay about the fact that you are expressing that anger or any other negative emotion. Now, anyone who's been watching the past few videos knows that I like to tack on a thought of the day at the end of the video to give you a little more value and hopefully give you something that you can take with you into your day to help you manifest more into your life. And I've got something for you as usual, but before we get there, I want to get a step ahead of the game here. Let's put something positive out there right now. Comment below one positive thing, one thing about this world, in your opinion, everybody watching, one thing about this world that's awesome. Don't even worry about the negative stuff right now. Pick something that's awesome and comment that below and inspire other people that watch this video and are reading those comments. And that positive comment that you put down, or any other positive comment that you put down, is going to get you entered into this month's contest where one lucky winner will walk away with lifetime access to Gravity of the Cosmos, my advanced level full immersion guided program for manifesting your every desire through the law of attraction. And you can learn more about the program by going to gravityofthecosmos.com, where I have a free training on 3 secrets for manifesting your desires faster than you ever thought possible. Or you can check out my book, The Last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read, which has a link to special bonuses, one of which includes the first few days of Gravity of the Cosmos free of charge, so you can try before you buy, and you can very easily check out my book by going to lastlawofattractionbook.com. Speaking of the book, let's take a quick minute out and thank one of my awesome readers who left recent feedback. So today's spotlight feedback, a 5-star rave review. This was left by Aaron on March 30th, 2021, with the subject heading, "The title of the book is true," and it reads, "Great explanations, easy to digest, and explained in a reason that answered why it works that way. A must for anyone serious about long-term manifestation change." Wow, Aaron, thank you so much. What a compliment. I truly, truly appreciate that feedback. I truly, truly appreciate you. And I'm just so grateful that you found your way to the book and that you're using these methods to your advantage. Thanks so much. And now, as promised, let's close things out with my thought of the day, which it's not exactly related to this anger issue, but I still hope that nonetheless, it will offer you a lot of value. So today's thought of the day is everything you want desperately wants you just as much. So be grateful so that it all might more easily find its way to you. Really hoping that gave you value. And Christine, thank you again for your question. Really hoping that my answer addressed it and gave you something really healthy and useful for today. And for anyone watching, if you enjoyed this content, again, make sure that you hit that like button and be back soon, because I've got a lot more content in store for you. So thanks so much for watching today, and I will look forward to seeing you again next time.